Okay, we are recording. And everybody, I would like you to meet my friend Nastja. She is
Hi,
in Slovenia. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, great. It's so nice to meet you.
Nice
She
to
has been
meet you
kind
too.
enough to meet with us today from Slovenia. So what I like to do is show everybody, and I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna show everybody where you're at exactly. Let me know if you see that. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm sorry about that. So you're right here, and we're going to close up on it a little bit. Get rid of that scene
Hmm.
right there. It always shifts over for me. So let me do this. So we're getting closer and closer. And there you are. Now we can get closer up, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell a little bit about where you're at. Now, Slovenia is a country in Central Europe known for its mountains, ski resorts, and lakes. It has more than half the country is protected land, with more than half of its total area covered in forests. And there's one vineyard to every 70 people. And there are around 900,000 beekeepers in a population of just over 2 million people, which is interesting. Maybe we could speak about that a little bit. You are bordered by Italy, Austria, Hungary, and Croatia. And I'm going to get closer up to show the tiny area you're in. We would call it a town here, just like a rural town. This is
Mm.
your nearest city, Marlborough or Marlborough. I'm sorry if I'm
Yes,
pronouncing that wrong, but you're in Cerkvenjak. Did I say that
exactly.
right? Okay.
Yes.
It's a municipality. Get closer again, really tiny right here. And so it's in northeastern Slovenia, and it's only an area of 173 acres, which is about zero point 0.3 square miles. You have a population of 135 as of the 2012 census, and that is with approximately 67 men and 68 women. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and get back to us. And welcome, Nastja. Thank you so much again for being here. So, first things first,
Thank
I want
you.
you to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of, for example, what kind of activism are you involved in? What do you do? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is Nastja. I am 46 years old, and actually, we live in Maribor, which is a city, but we have a farm in Cerkvenjak, actually, even smaller village near Cerkvenjak.
Okay.
Uh, and we have a farm, which is a sanctuary for animals. Um, we actually didn't start as a sanctuary. We just bought the land and we wanted to farm. But later on, animals they needed home, and then we start to welcoming animals because we have space. So there's the chickens came, and then other animals. We have a lots of chickens and ducks and geese and turkeys and sheep and rabbits and a lot of and pigs. And last years we have a lot of wild animals too.
Yeah.
So deer and hedgehogs and squirrels and what kind of animals needs help, and if we have enough of space we take them in.
That's
So it's
amazing. Can
animal
I just
sanctuary.
say, I just want to say to everybody, the reason I wanted to talk to you is because of your pictures. And do you mind if I show some of your pictures?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yes, of course you can.
Okay, so I'm going to share the screen again, and I want to show what I think is what really caught my eye. Okay, let me see here. We'll start here because this right here. Do you see the screen? This right here caught my eye. That is so adorable. That's a deer.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say that that's not you don't find that a lot here on sanctuaries. You find a lot of farm animals here. So when I
Mm,
saw you all cuddled up to these deer, oh my god, I love that. That is so adorable. Oh my goodness. I would
yeah,
love
they're sweet.
look at those great pictures. Oh, look at that. And they just ham it up for the camera, don't they?
Yes. They actually really like to watch pictures on my phone. So sometimes I need to scroll the pictures and they watch photos.
Oh my goodness. Look at this. Oh, that's adorable. Oh, I am so jealous. I wanna cuddle up with them so bad. Oh my god. I and so anyway, that really caught my eye. Again, here's another picture. Now, of course, all the other animals are adorable too. It's just that this is a
Yeah,
rarity for
yeah,
us to see in sanctuaries here because, we usually have the pigs like you have here and the turkeys and the
yeah. We
chickens and
have
stuff like that. And, you go down further and you see I saw you here, you're doing a talk at,
on the march, animal rights march.
March, yeah. That's wonderful. So you're involved in a lot of activism as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen once again, and I want you to tell us a little bit more about what kind of activism are you involved in?
Um, Activism is very important for me. I think we should speak up for animals. So any kind of activism is happening here. I try to join if I can. I mean, sometimes I have some animals are sick or dying. Sometimes I cannot, but if I can, I go. And we do different things. We go on vigils in every city where there are slaughterhouses. We do cubes. We do, I mean, leafleting, lots of different activism. But mine main activism is working in my sanctuary. I mean,
Sure.
this is my work. But I
You
like
seem
to
like
be
a
involved in any kind of
you
activism.
you seem like a very busy person because anybody that's been around a sanctuary involved with sanctuaries knows how much work that is. And
Mm.
so nobody ever really uh, blames people who work at sanctuaries if they don't see them at other events. You know what I mean? Because it is such a time-consuming job. But you seem to get out there and get involved in all types of activism. So that's really amazing. You must just be a powerhouse. You must have endless energy. Is all I could say. Maybe it's the all the fresh air there or something. I don't know,
I like
but
to go
I
on
think it's
these
amazing.
events. I like to. I think it's really good to meet other activists too. I think this is really. I mean, makes us stronger if we are connected and we do different things together. And there's not so many of us, so I think we need all of us to go and everything if we can.
I
So
agree,
yeah,
and I'm sure it helps to get those activists involved in helping with the animals at your sanctuary as well, doesn't it? It makes a stronger community for that.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are willing to come, but I don't. I mean, our animals they went through hard times with meeting people. I mean,
Okay,
all our animals they have bad experience with people, so I don't like to expose them to people. So I
okay, that's
rather work alone, me and my husband, and yeah, it's stress for them, especially with wild animals. You cannot bring people where you have wild animals. They are really scared.
so the wild animals that you have, are you caring for wild animals that are in need, or you just happen to have
Mm.
them around, or okay, so
No,
so
no,
are you like a rehabilitation center, or you just
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Now how many
I don't
deer do you have?
interfere. I don't interfere with wild animals if they are not needing help.
Sure.
Um, the animals that they come to me usually they come when the babies they lose their mothers
Okay.
and they need to to be fed on the bottle with the bottle, and then
Yeah.
later on I rehabilitate them back to the woods. So they go to live in the woods,
Yeah.
and most of my time is I spent helping them to go back to the woods.
So yeah,
So
rehabilitation. That's
yeah,
wonderful. Do you find them like the deer, for example? Do they ever come back to visit?
yeah, they
Oh,
do. All of them, they come. Even so, some all of them. I'm really happy they become really wild again, and but they all know me, and they come close, and yeah, we have really nice connection. Like,
oh, that's kind of bringing tears to my eyes. That's so sweet. That is so wonderful. I got the warm fuzzies now. I want to come visit. That's wonderful. How many deer do you have right now, for example? I know when I asked you about doing the interview and we were trying to do a time that was best for you, and you said there's a certain time when you're like closing up gates for them, and you mentioned the deer. How many do you
yeah.
have?
The ones that they come in the evening inside in the closure, there are two of them.
Okay.
But there are others from previous years who are sleeping next to our area. So in the evening, I bring them food. I mean, they don't need
Aw.
that food, but I just give them
It's
just
bonding.
like a dessert.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for
Just
them to know where is their territory. That they don't go far where there are some roads, or I mean that they stay on our territory.
do you have problems with hunters around there? Do you have to worry about that?
I do have to worry about that because legislations are, I mean, they need to shoot, I mean, they don't need to, but they
Yeah.
are allowed to shoot certain amount of deer every year, and it's quite a big number. But I have to say, I have a good relationship with them. At least till now, I had it. For every deer that I get, I always contact the hunters and I tell them. So my local hunters, they know me and they know my deer, and yeah, we have
Wow.
this connection.
They respect that.
Yeah, they do actually. They I get always this baby deer, and for them it's they would like that I bring this deer to adults. Um, Sometimes they bring it. Um, we just then I mean, I think they respect my work, and later on when the deer are bigger, I ask them not to shoot my deer because my deer, they behave a little bit different than really wild deer, because they are
Used to
some of
humans.
them, they come near humans, and hunters, they help me with that. For example, my deer, sometimes they have this
Tracking collar?
yes, so that they know that this deer behaves a little bit different because was raised by human.
Yeah, see that's gotta be the tricky part, especially see
Mm.
I'm involved with like I'll show you Roar. This is my local sanctuary, and she has deer around her and a lot of hunters, and they have shot deer on her property when she has a
Mm.
sanctuary, and they're not friendly with her, and she has a lot of problems with that. So I can imagine how hard God if she had deer, they'd probably have a fit that she that she had deer on her sanctuary as part of her sanctuary, but they're wild around her. But I can imagine, rehabilitating wildlife and putting them back out there into that situation where that could possibly happen. It's at least good that you get some respect, and that you have that communication with them. I mean, it's got to be a heart wrenching experience to put them back out there and knowing
Mm.
what a dangerous situation after all the care you gave them and how it is tricky because you need to care for them, but that also makes them used to humans, and
Mm.
it kind of puts them at risk. So that's good that
Mm.
you have people that understand that around you. Um, So, are you originally from the area, or did you grow up there, or where are you from originally? And tell us a little bit about the culture and the food there.
Okay,
Where you're at.
I'm originally from Maribor. This is the
Okay.
second largest city. Um, Slovenia, you asked about the food.
Well, the culture,
We
the food, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have traditional food, and but of course we are modern with all the fast food variations too.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's not hard to be vegan here. It's really not. You can find vegan food everywhere in the countryside, in the city, everywhere. Even I mean, in the stores, even these really low budget stores, they have a lots of vegan food. So
now are you talking about like traditionally, just like naturally vegan without like meaning to be, or are you talking about substitutes like you can easily find substitutes?
substitutes, you find substitutes everywhere.
Now,
Cheese and
traditionally,
everything.
what are the dishes like traditionally in Slovenia? Are they meat heavy like most places? Or are they like heavy in root vegetables or just tell us a little bit about
Both,
that. Both.
both. Uh, yeah,
Okay.
they. It is a lot of in traditional food. There is a lot of dishes which contains meat, but
Sure.
a lot of vegetables too. So it's not hard at all to make them vegan. And even in countryside, you can find vegan versions in this kind of I don't know, uh, not just in the shops, but in the um, restaurants. You can. Uh, Countryside is harder with
Sure.
is in countryside is harder for them to move towards veganism, but you can find it.
So
Uh,
you're finding it easier to find the substitutes like the big brand substitutes that are coming out are becoming more available like in stores
yeah,
and stuff like that. That's great. What about
yeah,
and this often comes up. I need to put this actually on incorporate that in this part of the list of my questions, but like other ways that we use animals like wearing them. Do you find leather substitutes or even like fake furs easy to find? Do you find like easily find toiletries like shampoos and stuff like that are vegan? Can you find all that?
yeah, yeah. It's really easy to find. You have all labels, um, vegan, and it's a really modern country about that. I mean, you can really find everything, and if you are willing to find, you will not have any problems with. But people who live here, especially in countryside, um, it's hard for them um, to understand that. I mean,
The
here we
mindset,
live in,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
sure. So, how long have you been vegan? Again, did you tell us how long you've been vegan?
I have not yet. I'm vegan like around. I became vegan like around my middle 20s, something like this, in my university. I had a guest professor, Mylan Engel from Illinois. So he came to lecture ethics, and he introduced me to veganism. And for me, immediately, it was very logical and normal. So I became
So
vegan.
that's what flipped the switch for you. That's what made you want to become vegan. Now,
Yeah.
can I ask you, had you ever heard about veganism before that?
No, actually, I didn't. I was vegetarian for some years before, and I never thought about egg industry and about milk. This I didn't question. For me, I didn't saw the whole picture. I just saw if you're killing an animal, that was problematic for me, but I didn't see the problem with eggs or dairy. But when
Yeah.
he lectured about that, then became obvious. I mean, that we have to look a little bit deeper, not just killing right away.
Yeah,
But
it's not as innocent as it looks on the surface, is it? I mean, I
Mhm.
didn't it took me a while because I didn't know about the eggs and dairy industry. I was one of those people who was like, you know, don't they just give it? I didn't
Mm,
realize that we had to forcibly impregnate cows and take away the
mm,
babies. It didn't occur to me, but when I found out, I think there was a part of me that was mad at the system that I was brought up in, the indoctrination,
mm,
that I wasn't told the truth. And there was a part of me for not realizing it. You know, it's like,
mm,
well, it makes sense. Once you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. They're mammals. They have to be pregnant to make milk.
mm, mm.
It doesn't occur to you when you're so far indoctrinated all your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I understand. I understand. Yeah, I didn't really hear much about veganism before I went vegan myself. So, are any of your family or friends vegan? Is your family vegan?
My husband and my son, they're vegan. My husband's daughters from previous marriage, one is vegan, one is not. Um, my parents are not vegan. My husband's parents are not vegan. They don't want to. I mean, we are vegan now for many years, but they're not interested to hear us or to come closer to the idea. They
Honestly,
want.
I think most vegans have the same problem with their own families. We can go out and talk to people on the streets, total strangers, all day long, and seem to get through to a lot of them.
Mm,
And but for some reason, the people closest to us is the hardest. I
yeah.
found that from no matter where I talk to someone from, it just seems to be the same the world over. But
Mm,
what about, do they at least respect it? How do you deal with like family gatherings, stuff like that?
yeah. Um, we are. We don't have these family gatherings.
Okay.
In the beginning, was quite hard. Like I have a sister, and my parents they have uh, some holiday celebrations together with her, and we are not part of it. In the beginning was hard for me, but now I think it's kind of a relief that we don't have to be part of that anymore. Mm, they are my biological family, but it doesn't mean that. I mean, we have our own basic family, and in this basic family, um, we share the most important values, and veganism is very important part of our who we are. And I don't miss these holidays anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, not anymore. First years, it was hard for me, but not anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been really big on holidays, so it wasn't that hard of a transition for me, but I do understand. It has gotten to the point where it's just like, either we do it vegan or I'm just not going to go. That's fine. I'll stay at home.
Mm,
I'll watch TV. I'll, watch some holiday specials or something like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I understand. I understand what you mean.
For me, it's
Um,
hard. I mean, for them, I don't know how it will go. They think that if they put something vegan on one part of the table and they have a lot of that animals on the other part, that this is really coming uh,
a
toward.
compromise.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's really hard for me. I cannot really be calm and next to the table and see some that animal, and I don't
So
want to be. I mean, maybe some people think that it's really that I'm so hard and that I'm so, but it's just I see it very different than them. They see it as food, and I don't see it as food.
yeah, essentially, you've kind of taken the liberation pledge. Yeah, I did too before I knew what it was. And it was over finally at a Christmas dinner at my mother's house. And even though she had made dishes for me that were vegan, I was still sitting down with flesh and dairy and eggs at the table. And there was the final straw was that they had somebody over. I didn't know who this gentleman was. I still don't know who he was, a neighbor or something. They knew him somehow. And in my own family's home is like giving me a really hard time about not eating meat or secretions and I just give me a really hard time over my own family's dinner, and I just finally realized, why am I arguing with this person? Why? Who is this person? And that's when I drew the line. And I said, never again. I'm never, ever. And I took a liberation pledge without knowing that I was taking the I didn't even know what the liberation pledge was. But that's when I realized I can't do this anymore. Even for my own sanity, I had been vegan
Mm,
for quite a few years then, and for my own sanity, it's just seemed like every time I went to a holiday dinner, it's not, oh, found the vegan. Yeah, you found the vegan because you had to ask me questions in front of everybody. It's like you had to make me uncomfortable in front of everybody. You had to grill me about this over what's supposed to be a family holiday. You know. Anyway,
mm.
that's when I decided. I understand. I don't mean to go on and on about me. I'm just trying to say that I
Yeah,
think that a lot of people have gone through that. Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people have gone through that, and for my own sanity, I know is the reason I did it. Some people don't believe in it, but I can't. It would be like I take care of dogs. I couldn't see somebody putting a dead dog on the table and eating it and sit there. I couldn't do that.
Mm.
So it's the same thing
Yeah.
to me.
For me, it was not like a decision that I will not ever sit on the table with somebody who eats meat. It was not such a decision. It's more like I don't hang around with people who eat animals anymore, and I'm not used to that. And for me, it's really stressful to come to that situation, to sit
Yep.
with somebody who eats meat, and it's not worthy anymore. I mean, maybe there will be some situation that I will find that I really need to, but I don't think for now, for some years, no situation was worth of sitting next to that table. And yeah, I'm not used to. All my friends are vegan. My closest family is vegan. I'm just in this kind of a circle, which is for me normal. And I'm really happy that, for example, my son, he went to the kindergarten with 4 years, and he never even he didn't even know that in this world, some people, they eat animals. And he was so
Yeah.
shocked when he found out. He came home and he said, "Mommy, you know that this boy, he eats rabbits. Crazy,
Uh,
he eats rabbits." He was so shocked. And then I said,
I'm
"Yeah."
hoping that wasn't too traumatizing for him. I mean, obviously, you take care of rabbits.
Yeah, it was really traumatizing for him. He was very angry because I said to him that, yeah, that I know. And he was like, "You knew?" And I said, "Yeah, some people, even in your family, like your grandparents, they eat animals." And he was really shocked. And he said that we are all murderers. And he didn't want to speak with, even with me. He was so um, angry at whole world and disappointed on people.
If you think about it, if you look at it through the eyes of him, if everybody just looked at the world through the eyes of him, that's really how it should be. It should be shocking that people do this. That should
Mm,
be the normal. It's the way he
mm,
thinks, the way he sees the world. Is
mm,
that that's not normal to do that and eat the flesh of an animal. It's
mm.
it's weird. it's That's
Yeah,
really what the normal should be, is the way he
yeah,
thinks. You
yeah.
know? Wow. You know, wouldn't it have been great if we had been brought up with that mindset? I just think like instead of being the opposite, we were indoctrinated and then having to come out of it and being shocked at what we did, eh,
Mm.
to be brought up like being shocked at what others did instead. You know what I mean? So, now would you say it's easy? You already said it's easy to be vegan where you are, but what would be the struggles you would say? I think you told us a little bit. But what would you say would be the struggles to be vegan in Slovenia?
I think it's the same in your place. It's expecting that all other people will understand, they will not. I mean, you will find some restaurants where they will complicate, and they will say that they don't have anything vegan. But you will find restaurants which are completely. I mean, they know what is vegan. They will give you vegan food. I don't see any struggles being vegan here. Just that you don't expect too much from other people.
I guess you never really can you?
Yeah,
So
countryside can be a little bit like, it's good before you go on the trip. I mean, through Slovenia countryside, maybe that you first know where you could eat a proper vegan meal, that you don't search for it by yourself.
yeah, or maybe just prepare, bring along food or
Yeah,
something. Sure. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, that's a good tip anytime you travel, I guess.
yeah.
So, how do people view animal rights where you live or in Slovenia in general? How do people view animal rights there?
Huh. Um, when we have vigils, you could see a lot of not understanding why we are there. They see us like, that we are provoking, that we are forcing, that we are, yeah, that we are the one who are violent. There is a lot of not understanding of our views. Mm, and the things are changing very slowly. I mean, when we have cubes, we have some success. There are some people who change their views. They listen to us, but the change is how the people are. I mean, and the people are quite stubborn, and they it's hard for them to change their view and their habits. So sometimes it's hard when you try to do the best, try to be open, try to not to judge people, but just to come closer to them with open heart, and then you see that um, they're actually hostile or angry at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Defensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now that's something that brings us back to something I was talking about. I said I wanted to maybe touch on when I was talking about little facts about Slovenia, and I found out that there are around 900,000 beekeepers in a population of just over 200 people. Now, first of all, it brings to mind that beekeeping and honey, especially honeybees, can really endanger indigenous species of bees, wild bees. So I looked into that a little bit to see, how much your indigenous species are endangered because of so many people doing backyard beekeeping. Now, I did find an article, but it's saying is what surprises me is how you're saying how much resistance people have to animal rights, but yet they're trying to. Here, let me just show my screen once again, okay, if you don't mind, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Okay, now when I share, I can't see you anymore, so I need to know. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I looked
Yeah.
into this, and I found out Slovenia is one of the leading countries in trying to save the bees. Okay, they actually want the bees, their indigenous bee, which I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a C. There it is. Uh, Carn Carniolan
Mm-hmm.
honeybees in
Mm-hmm.
Slovenia. They actually want them on the endangered animals species list. So how can they be so up for this? yet be so against other animals having rights. It's just boggling. Um, but it did worry me when I looked at this. Wild bees are very efficient pollinators, are important for both biodiversity and food production. One solitary bee can do the work of hundreds of carniolan, I'm probably saying that wrong, honeybees. So there is some cons to that. But it's funny to think, and I'll stop sharing that. Don't you think it's kind of funny that they would be so like, for bee rights and then not
Yeah,
understand what you're doing?
actually, it doesn't really surprise me because, for example, you see in the country when
They're
they see
making
a
money off the bees, aren't they?
of course they do, yeah.
That's why.
But
That's
when
why.
you see, for example, people are so they see a little deer and they say, "Oh, little Bambi, so cute, so sweet." But then in 2 months, the same
Go shoot
people
it.
they will say, "Such a great soup." I mean,
Yeah.
they see it's in this, it's the same sweet, innocent being, but they see it different because, yeah, this is how they are indoctrinated.
Duality to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Plus,
doesn't
like I said,
surprise
I,
me
I
about
think it's
this.
because they're making money off the honey. They
Oh
want to
yeah,
make
they
sure.
do.
That's why they're wanting to protect them so much. There's always going to be something in it for the people, right? It doesn't matter
Yeah,
where you are. It's got to be something
yeah,
in it for them to do something good, which is sad.
yeah,
That's why it's so hard to be an activist because, I mean, just going on vegan groups and finding all these people that just like are just doing it for diet. What's in it for
yeah,
me? What's in it for me? And they have nothing to do with animal rights. They don't understand really. And if you mention that veganism is about animal rights, they get all pissed off and want to go off on you. It's about me. It's about my health. No, you don't understand. You're in it for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? I think it's the same thing with that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We share so much in common the world over, especially when we're vegans, don't we?
yeah,
So,
we do.
what would you say with all the activism that you do? What would you say is your favorite form of activism?
I really like to be together with other activists. So I really like to do the group work. I don't know, leafleting, or when we do some events like this um, vegan movie nights or something. It's really nice to be with others. I cannot say that videos are my favorite, but I go.
Yeah,
They're really
I know
hard.
what you mean. I know what you mean.
Um, so I cannot say which is my favorite. My favorite is when I feel connected with others. This really is important to me to feel connected with other activists. And marches. I love marches. I feel that we are strong, we are together, that we are united, um, that we will go through any struggles we have. Yeah, marches are my favorite.
So
But
so in that picture I found of you where you were speaking at the march, how did that come about, and where was that march?
we usually have every once a year we have a march, animal rights march in Ljubljana, in the capital.
Okay,
Um, this year and last year we couldn't have it because of this corona
sure.
situation now, but usually we have it. And then we have I don't know, we go through city like any other march, and then we have few speakers, and then we have like evening together, we do the cube, and we this for me it's really great when we are together, when we talk, when we make plans what we will do next. It's really great.
You really enjoy that sense of community.
Yeah,
It's im-
yeah, it is
it's
important.
important. It's
It's kind
important,
of
and
a family.
yeah, and I see, you kind of being in isolation, taking care of the animals. So that is a very important part of keeping our mental health. I think a
Mm,
lot of us, whether we're caring for animals like you are or not, happen. As vegans, often feel isolated, and the coronavirus on top of it, the shutdowns and everything like that, I think has people really, really starting to examine and discuss mental health issues, especially in the vegan movement, the animal rights movement, which has been important all the time because of things like vigils and all that, and everything that we need to see in order to expose what's going on. It's rough on us, but I think it's just been further compounded. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's important. It's important, and that's great that you have community coming together. That's really good. So,
Yeah.
one thing for anybody out there, I didn't tell everybody. I don't think I told Nastja before we started that my studio has kind of changed. I'm no longer in my office. I am now downstairs in the living room because my Wi-Fi was so bad up there. Even though I bought a Wi-Fi booster, the problem is that I kind of fall back on my couch a little bit when I cross my legs. I fidget a lot. So anyway, if anybody was wondering why the scenery changed, I forgot to mention that. So, all right, back to what I was asking you. If a vegan visits where you live, where should they go? Where do you think they should go? It doesn't have to be a restaurant. I'm talking about like
Yeah.
your sanctuary, or you don't want too many
We
people
have
visiting there. Or,
Yeah, we have quite a lot of sanctuaries. I mean, at least 4 we have in Slovenia, and for such a small country, I think it's quite.
that's really great, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're really nice. I mean, they're very different, and really nice people are leading them. If somebody comes, I think it's really good to connect with activists. I mean, we have this Facebook group, Slovenian vegan activists,
Okay.
and maybe there will be some great lecture or some good meeting they could join.
So that Facebook group is called Slovenian Vegan Activists, or
Vegan activism. Yeah.
okay, Slovenian Vegan Activism.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, because usually I would
Yeah.
look up Slovenian vegans and that might not come up.
Yeah,
So
you will find
activism
it
makes a difference.
Slovenian Vegan Society. This is
Okay.
a group, and then you have vegan activism, but we don't have Slovenian before. But if you are in Slovenian, I think it will come out vegan activism. It's our
Okay.
group.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is out of Slovenia.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, what's your favorite vegan dish that people should try if they're there?
I mean, I like this kind of countryside food, like potatoes or any kind of this kind of really typical Slovenian food. Maybe they should try some Slovenian typical food, made
Yeah.
it in vegan version.
Yeah. What dish would you think they should do?
Oh, they should try whatever they will be able to try. I mean, depends on the
Well, what
rest.
would be your favorite traditional Slovenian dish that they should try? That's vegan, obviously.
Yeah, of course. There are stuffed paprikas. Yeah, this is my favorite food.
Stuffed. Say that again.
Stuffed paprika. You have a paprika, and then you stuffed it with special rice and in different ingredients, and then you have a tomato sauce and with a smashed potato.
So it's called stuffed paprika?
Yes.
Because paprika would be a spice here. So that's why it took me for a second.
Yeah, it's paprika like a vegetable, and
Okay.
then you make it. You put it the top. You put it down, and then you stuff it with something. This
Okay.
is my favorite.
That sounds good. That sounds
Yeah,
good.
it is good. Yeah.
I would try it. Now, you already told us how they would get involved in the local vegan community. It sounds like you have a vibrant vegan community there.
It was before this corona situation. It was. There's a lot of young activists. They're really full of energy, and a lot of projects they started. But then now this year and a half, nothing is really happening because we are not even allowed to have meetings or vigils.
Yeah, what is the lockdown like there? I mean, are you guys allowed to leave your houses, or are you allowed to travel further distances? What's it like?
This lockdown now, it's a little bit softer version than the lockdown before. Now you can go to the stores and you can move in your region. Just in the night you couldn't go out.
No gatherings, no bars, stuff like that.
No,
That's what they're trying
no,
to
no, nothing
discourage.
is open. You don't have any restaurants and bars, and you cannot be in the group of people.
Has it affected your sanctuary or being able to care for your animals at all?
No, this I could not say. Maybe a little bit with food supplies,
Yeah,
but
that's what I was wondering.
not so much. I cannot feel it so much. Even before, I was quite isolated. I mean, I don't even have time to be with people. So for me, there is not such a big difference. But I could see the difference in this kind of atmosphere. And I know that a lot of people are having problems, financial problems, and um, yeah, it is hard.
Yeah.
And for animals it's hard because all that we talk now is this virus and all this situation, and animals are in the same situation in farms, and we cannot we don't go to this subject anymore. We cannot talk with people about that because for them this is not important now because they have their own struggles.
Yeah.
So I see this in countryside. Before I was visiting farmers and I was talking with farmers, and I was encouraging them to do some improvements for their animals. But now people are not open to do improvements for animals because they are in this situation that they have to take care of themselves. And even more, it's this situation is even harder for animals because it's more exploitation of animals, and we don't see it. It's just more hidden.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see how that would happen. And people aren't out. First of all, you're not able to go out and talk about it on
Mm,
the streets. Second of all, people aren't yeah, people are so focused on themselves that they're not worried about the welfare of others right now.
mm,
And so it's not being talked about anywhere. Um,
mm,
yeah, it's being hidden even further. That's sad. It makes me really
mm,
sad. Um, Many people haven't really thought about how this is impacting the animals. They've only thought about how it's impacted the companies like big slaughterhouses and stuff like that because of
yeah.
employment and stuff like that, or the farmers. That's all
Mm,
they don't think about how it's impacting those animals that are behind those walls.
mm,
So yeah, but regardless, and once we come out of this, um, it sounds like a great place to go. It actually sounds pretty vegan friendly. It sounds like you have a good community, a good activism community, and once we come out of this, hopefully, we'll be even stronger. Do you guys do you do a lot of online stuff where you're keeping focused on like workshops or anything like that in order to be stronger when you get back out on the streets, or do you get involved in any of that?
mm. I don't know. We will. I think after all this Corona situation, we will have to build it on new basis. We will have to see how the situation is and adapt to it. How we can, with what kind of activities will be the best for that time. I don't know when
Yeah.
this will be.
Hopefully, though, people will be more anxious to be out there. Hopefully, you'll see an influx of more activists that, because they've been um, isolated for a while, are ready, really ready to get out on those streets. You know what I mean?
So I hope so that this doesn't uh, take their energy. I hope this will give them energy.
Yeah, me too. Me too. That's all we can do is hope that that's the direction it'll take, you know.
Yeah.
Because the animals still need us more than ever. The
Yeah.
slaughter. That's what I tell people. You know, we complain about being in isolation. Imagine what it's like for these animals day in and day out. And the slaughterhouses never shut down. We might
Mm,
have had shutdowns, but the slaughterhouses never did. You know,
mm,
so we got to get right back out there. So,
yeah.
so my final question is usually, where would you like to visit one day and learn about veganism there? Have you ever, do you travel much?
No, when I have a sanctuary, no, I don't travel because I
Sure.
can. We don't even go to holidays. I mean, we are
You want me to
planning
go
it.
where?
We would like to go for holidays to some, I don't know, few days in the seaside, but we cannot because there's so many animals, and if somebody else will take my place, it will be too much work for somebody. So for now, we don't
Oh,
travel. But
yeah.
one day, maybe it will be different. Maybe when our children will be bigger, they could help, and me and my husband, we could go somewhere. A few years ago, we were so happy. We went in Luxembourg on animal rights conference, like 3 years a row. It was so great to be with other activists, and we were really happy to go.
Now,
But for now,
tell me again, when did you open the sanctuary? When did you start that again?
like 10 years ago, something
10
like
years
this.
ago. So you
Hmm.
haven't really been out but a couple
Not
times in
much.
10 years. Oh my goodness.
Not much.
See, I haven't been on vacation in 2 years, and so I feel for you. I really feel for you because I've been
Yeah.
complaining about that. So
I'm more sorry for kids. You know, my son, I think his friends, they always go for holidays and he's not going. And I feel like a little bit a bad mother not to take my child for holidays. But
oh.
he's really understanding. He goes to swim in the nearest lake and he say that it's really great. And
Yeah, from what I understand, you have, like, a hot springs lake where it's, like, supposed to be good almost all year round, like, really nice.
yeah, they are. And there's lots of different lakes, and it's a really nice countryside. Slovenia is really beautiful, really
Yeah, you just
green and
what you do
beautiful.
is you just tell your son, if he ever complain that they're not going on vacation, say, "Honey, there's a lot of people out there that when they go on vacation, they come here."
Yeah, he never complains.
Yes,
He's
you
really good.
live here, so no, it sounds like you have a great kid. It sounds like you have a really great
Yeah.
kid, and it sounds like he's gonna be a good activist. So,
Yeah, he's very, very good activist in school, and he goes with us on vigils and on Cube and everything. He's really strong person. I mean, I'm more like uh, I have this gentle approach, and I'm more shy, but he's really active.
now do you get any, like do you get any, um, people who give you a hard time about raising your child vegan? Do you have any problems with the school or anything like that?
Mm, a lot of vegan parents, they do have problems with schools because um, if you want to have vegan diet in school, you have to have this permission from a doctor. Um,
Really?
yeah, so doctor have to prescribe that your child can eat vegan. And Slovenian doctors, they don't give this paper, and a lot of parents, they do have problems how to do with that. I mean, they have to homeschool or they have to give food to children to take to school. But I have this luck. I don't know how come, but I really have a good relationship with our school, with our cook. He's really, really good. And even so, my son is the only vegan child in whole school. He makes great vegan food for him. And he even listens what he likes to eat, not just that it's vegan. He even cook him uh, exactly what he likes. So I
That's
don't know.
wonderful.
Yeah. And what I really like with this cook is that the food that it's left, I mean, when they clean the salad or other vegetables, he gives to us for our animals.
Oh,
So
that's
our
awesome. Okay, so
yeah,
little tip to vegan parents out there: don't try to be friends with the school. Try to be friends with the school cook.
actually, yes, it is. It's true. I mean, um, I think the approach is important, that you come and you ask and you have open heart and you say, look, I have this problem. Can you help me? Um, I think a lot of times it's a problem with this communication, that parents, they come and they are, I want this right. This is my right. I mean, they're too hard on cooks or on teachers. And by the law, cook doesn't have to help you. I mean, he will if you open your heart and you say, I have a problem. Can you help me? And
Yeah.
then they will. And at least in my case, it is like this.
Yeah.
Our cook is
Well,
really
that's
great.
good that you were able to communicate with him. There are some people that just don't have that opportunity to communicate with the cooks. That can't, that there's so much red tape at their schools, or just
Mm.
um, what do I want to say? Barriers to getting that far. But I don't know if you've ever heard of a channel called UK Vegan Family.
No.
If you haven't, they raise their children. They're raising their children vegan as well, and they're activists. And you should really check out their YouTube channel. I'll send you a link to them, because they are
Yeah,
actually
thank you.
talking. They're working on initiatives in the UK about vegan kids, and having rights for families, um, and having it be more accepted and more education about it. So I think you might enjoy that, actually.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. We have a group who is fighting for this right for children to have meals, vegan meals in school too. It's really good that parents, they come together and they do these initiatives. I think we should change these laws.
yeah,
We shouldn't be left by our own, like that we have to go to ask and to be dependent on the goodwill of a cook. But until we don't have change, if until we don't change these laws, I think we should, as parents, really come with open heart and just communicate. And I think
sure.
we will
And
find.
that's also kind of like outreach to the to open the minds of the people that are preparing the meals, in a
Yeah.
way that's outreaching them. It's good to
Mm,
make that connection with them, just so that they
mm,
have a better understanding of what it is. And that way, if it is like made up to them, or if they have any say in it, they can be a liaison, or you know, not or liaison, or an ally to vegan
mm,
parents. You know what? I think they'll be really interested. You never know. I'm gonna shout out to them. They might be interested to watch this video and even get in contact with you to see who these people are, because they do interviews with people who are trying to change these laws. So they might be interested in knowing these people you're talking about, and doing an interview with them. That would
mhm.
be great. You know,
Yeah.
expand that community and give them some more exposure as well. I think they need to all
Mm,
come together and work that out.
yeah.
I personally have never had children, um, but I think it's great to see people really fighting for, bringing up their children vegan, and
Mm,
making new activists, and really fighting for a future generation of vegans. I think
yeah.
that's a great thing. So, is there anything else that you want to share with us? Is there anything else that I didn't cover that you would like to talk about, or that you had to say?
Hmm. I don't know. Maybe to invite all the activists to be involved in different sort of activism, to help local sanctuaries. I think it's not just good for sanctuaries and for animals, but for them personally, because I think some activists, they have this hard job just to see um, animals suffering when they're, I don't know, saving them or stealing them from the farms or being on videos. And I think for activists could be really healing if they go to work in sanctuaries to see the happy stories. Even so, we are all aware that this is just few individuals who are happy to come to the sanctuary, but these few individuals can give you so much strength and hope for another projects. For example, every this animal in sanctuary have their own stories, and these stories are really amazing stories. How one particular animal came to this sanctuary, what happened to her or him to come there, and it's like we have individual stories. How we are going through life, they have these individual stories, and they're so strong, they're so powerful. So yeah, I would like to encourage all the activists to be involved in working in the sanctuaries.
That's a great message. That's a wonderful message. Now, the last thing I want to do before we say goodbye, I think that's a wonderful note to leave on. But is there any kind of a social network? Does your sanctuary have a website or anything like that? Is there a way people can get in touch with you or find you? Or should I just go ahead and share Facebook, or what would you like me to share?
I don't have I have Facebook page, but I don't put on it much. I don't have time.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I really like to make photos, and I put my photos on my Facebook page, and my sanctuary have Facebook page. It's Nastja's Ark. This is the name of my sanctuary.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't do much on the websites, or I mean, I really
If there's any
I'm
way people want to find you if they come to visit or if they want to get in touch or to help out financially, are you a nonprofit or are you registered?
I'm registered and I'm not profit, but I would encourage people um, to help local sanctuaries. I mean, of
Okay.
course, I'm grateful for all the support that people give it to me, but I think they should connect locally and to support local sanctuaries. And if they are not, they should help some people who are willing to make it that they could. Um, I don't. I mean, we don't have visitors in our farm. There are some sanctuaries in Slovenia who accept visitors because they're that kind of sanctuary. We are not, because I mean,
Sure.
especially not with these wild animals.
Yeah, when you're rehabilitating wild animals, that's a different situation. They're not
Yeah,
domesticated. So.
and even so, I mean, before I was more for this, that we should open sanctuaries to people, but then I saw that it's not so good for animals. I mean, they need their peace. They are
Sure.
already hurted and they really need their peace. So we decided to close this sanctuary uh, for visitors. And now with this deer, of course, we cannot have visitors. But there are other sanctuaries who are open, and they will be happy to be in contact with visitors and show animals to them.
Look below for any links that Nastya has given me. So, Nastya, it's been a pleasure to meet you, and I really appreciate you giving us time out of your busy schedule. And
Thank you for
please
invitation.
go give a deer a big hug for me because I am so jealous. So
I will. I
I
will.
hope
They're
I
really sweet.
I really hope that I get to see your area of the world someday, and maybe even get to meet you and see your babies. That would be wonderful.
This would be really wonderful. Thank you for invitation, and I'm really happy for what you do and grateful for your work.
Oh, thank you
Thank
for what you do. You're so hardworking. So I'll go ahead and say goodbye to you, and you have a great rest of your evening. Okay?
You too.
All
And
right.
everyone
Bye-bye
who will
now.
watch. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was so nice to meet her. Um, everybody, I'm going to end this broadcast by telling you, I usually go ahead and tell everybody who I'm going to be seeing next week. But instead, what I'm going to do is leave you hanging and just tell you, if you want to find out who we're going to be talking to next week, come back and see us. Okay. All right. I love you guys. Bye.